don't like to start any public address with the idea that all Australians are horrible people.
The weight of opinion in this country is so hostile, to refugees coming here. The Guardian had access to the most remarkable cache of documents, years and years of what are called incident reports on Nauru, of everything going wrong in that camp, in the most precise detail. All of it was there for people to see. And when you look at the polls before that publication and after it, you could interpret the polls as saying that Australians knew more, and the result of knowing more was a slight hardening of their hearts.
What was the government response? Dutton said, well, some of them relate to trivial matters, like whether a microwave oven is working, and we'll have to check the veracity of some of these things. I mean, seriously?
Nothing about this is sane, but everything about it is understandable if you address the fears of the Australian people, if you address them and see where they come from, see how they've been nurtured, see how they've been built up over time. It's been a long process. It's been 40 years of patient, repetitive, unswerving attacks by both sides of politics.
The 2013 federal election distinguished itself as the only federal election that I can think of where both major parties have tried to gain political favour by promising cruelty to a group of human beings, namely boat people. If they'd promised cruelty to kittens, it wouldn't have worked. So why did the public tolerate promises of cruelty to human beings?
Indeed, respond to it and in a sense, even demand it from those political leaders, because they have been led to believe that the survival of this country depends on a totally policed border.
And yet, behind the scenes, Liberal MPs were celebrating the arrival of every boat that came because they figured it would help them electorally.
It did, and in fact they blocked laws in the Parliament which would have allowed another possible solution to take place, which is to have a refugee swap with Malaysia. They actually deliberately blocked that. They stood in the House of Representatives and wept. They wept about the fate of refugees being sent to Malaysia. And when they came to power, they sent them to a military island off the coast of Papua New Guinea and back to the hellhole of Nauru. It keeps getting worse because the ante keeps being upped. The opposition, led by Tony Abbott, decreed that the arrival of a single boat was proof of a total government failure. But it became imperative now to bring in crueler, tougher policies, because even a single boat slipping through would be a source of shame and embarrassment for the government. You have to be crueler, and that's what's happened.
Yeah, I think it was very interesting that in August 2015, I think, the UN Special Rapporteur on Torture delivered a report saying that in 5 instances that had been referred to him of people held, I think, on Manus, Australia was in breach of its obligations under the Convention Against Torture. Mm-hmm. And Tony Abbott's public reaction was, Australians are sick and tired of being lectured to by the UN.
Yeah.
Could hardly have been more dismissive. So why don't we respond to international criticism?
I think because we have an unshakable view that we are a near as, goddammit, perfect international citizen. And, of course, in so many ways, Australia is a model international citizen. And this just seems incongruous. There's somebody criticising us, and so that criticism is just battered away. It just is so absurd. It's so absurd. This is such a good country. This is such a good country. We are such good people, and our politicians have led us down a very dark track here. And no one, you don't know, and I don't know, and they don't know how we turn around and get back out of it.
No.
I suppose we're in something like the same situation that South Africa was with apartheid. We are in a system which is incredibly hard to dismantle. It's got the same basis, it's about race fears, and I wish I had some sort of solution. I don't.
Except that in South Africa, the turning point was the emergence of a genuine leader. And that's what I pray will happen in Australia. But we haven't seen a genuine leader in this country for a while. Well, let's go into fantasy land for a moment. Let's imagine that Labor is a party of the left. Let's imagine that there is a political leader who can stand up in the current federal parliament and say, look, these people aren't illegal, they haven't committed a crime, they're not a risk to us, and we are spending obscene amounts of money damaging them. We really could make them welcome. Would that bring the country to its knees, or would that get a bit of support?
You can't look to the Labor Party to solve this issue. I mean, alone.
Okay, well, pretend there's a political leader somewhere.
Alone. No. Both sides of politics would have to agree together to change tack on this. They'd have to do it together. Now, Australia has, in the past, been capable of implementing great changes, particularly economic changes, with both sides of politics cooperating. And that's theoretically possible with this issue. But I can't see how it can happen. I can't see what would make it happen. None of the outrages of the last few years on Manus and Nauru have provoked a change of political heart. The knowledge as it spreads through the Australian community about what's going on there hasn't softened Australians' views of the need to repel these refugees. I can't see how it can possibly happen.
A real leader would stand up and say, look, I know you don't agree with me, but this is what I think we need to do, and this is why, and I want to persuade you, I want to lead you around to the right result. That's what leadership is. Leadership isn't just taking the easy path that'll get you re-elected.